I work emergency intake at Oslo University Hospital. Last year, an American tourist arrived with a sprained ankle from hiking. Standard stuff. We x-rayed, confirmed no fracture, wrapped it, gave him crutches. Total time, 40 minutes. He was ready to leave when he froze at reception. "Where do I pay?" Our clerk smiled. "You don't. You're covered under emergency visitor care." His face went pale. "What's the catch?" She explained there was no catch. Norway provides emergency care. He stood there, crutches under his arms, staring at her like she'd spoken in code. "But the x-ray, the doctor, the wrap, the crutches." She nodded. "All included." He pulled out his wallet, hand shaking. "I need to pay something." "I have insurance. Please let me pay," she gently explained again. "Zero cost." He sat down in the waiting room and cried, not from pain, from disbelief. I track these moments because they expose what most of us never question. The quiet fear baked into the American model. If uncovering those hidden realities is the kind of clarity you want more of, make sure this isn't the last time you see it. Subscribing simply keeps the truth in your feed. When he finally left, he turned back 3 times, convinced someone would chase him with a bill. My colleague in Stockholm treated an American woman for a UTI antibiotics prescribed. Cost $11. The woman asked to see the bill again and again. She took a photo. She asked if there were hidden fees coming later. There weren't. That's when I realized Americans aren't just unfamiliar with other healthcare systems. They're traumatized by their own. Most channels give you outrage. I give you the architecture of the problem. If you want to stay ahead of the next uncomfortable truth, subscribe now. Don't rely on the algorithm to decide what you understand. I manage a pharmacy in Amsterdam. An American college student came in with a prescription for antibiotics from our walk-in clinic. She'd seen the doctor that morning for a throat infection. I filled her prescription at euros. She handed me her credit card, then paused. "Wait, how much was the doctor visit?" I told her the student clinic is free for registered students. She blinked. "Free?" I nodded. She looked at her prescription. "And this is 8 euros?" I confirmed. She started calculating on her phone. So the appointment, the throat swab, the prescription. 30 minutes of a doctor's time, 8 euros total? I explained the appointment was free. Only medication costs. She sat down on the floor, right there in my pharmacy. Started crying. Her friend asked what was wrong. Through tears, she said, "I went to urgent care at home last year for the same thing. No insurance. They charged me $300 before they'd even see me. The antibiotics were another 90. She looked up at me. "Your doctor spent 30 minutes with me. Listened to everything. Explained the medication. I didn't even bring money because I thought I'd have to come back." She left with her Aturo antibiotics. Still shaking her head, a hospital administrator in Berlin watched an American man refuse treatment. He'd collapsed at a train station, possible heart issue. Paramedics brought him to emergency. The doctor explained they needed to run tests, EKG, blood work, possible overnight observation. The man, chest still tight, said, "How much?" The doctor looked confused. "For what?" The American said, "All of this. The ambulance. The tests. How much?" The doctor said they'd discuss it later. Right now, they needed to check his heart. The man tried to leave. "I can't afford this. I don't have $10,000. The doctor and 2 nurses physically stopped him. "Sir, this will cost you nothing. You're having a cardiac event." He didn't believe him. Fought to leave. They had to explain 3 times that German emergency care doesn't require payment up front. That his health came first, that money wasn't part of this equation. He finally agreed to tests. Everything came back stable: panic attack, not heart attack. They kept him overnight for observation. Next morning, he asked for the bill. They gave him an invoice. 0 euros for emergency care. He'd pay his travel insurance deductible later, maybe 50 euros. He stared at it, asked if this was the real bill. They assured him it was. He told the nurse, in America, the ambulance alone would have been $3,000. Without insurance, This night would have bankrupted me. The nurse didn't know what to say. She just brought him tea. I'm a medical translator in Tokyo. An American. Family's daughter had an asthma attack at Disneyland. They rushed her to our local hospital. We stabilized her, gave her breathing treatments, kept her for hours for observation. The father didn't sit down once. Kept asking about costs. Finally, I gave him the number, 18,000 yen. He went silent. Pulled out his phone, converted it. About $130. For emergency care, multiple breathing treatments, for hours of observation, medications. He looked at me. That's it? I confirmed. His wife started laughing, that slightly hysterical laugh of relief. Our deductible at home is $6,000. Last time this happened in Florida, we paid $4,000 out of pocket before insurance covered anything. The father sat down finally. We almost didn't bring her. We thought we'd wait, see if it got worse. Because we didn't know what foreign hospitals cost. I told him that calculation waiting to see if a child's breathing gets worse because of cost shouldn't exist. He nodded, but it's our normal. A hotel concierge in Copenhagen helped an American couple find a doctor. The wife had severe back pain. They'd been researching costs all morning, calling their insurance, looking up international coverage. Finally called me. We need a doctor, but we need to know costs first. I gave them our clinic's number. An hour later, they came back to the hotel. I asked if everything was okay. The husband said the doctor saw her. 30 minutes. Prescribed muscle relaxers and physical therapy referrals. The whole visit was 200 kroner. I nodded. That's standard, about $30. The wife said, we budgeted $1,000. We were prepared to skip the rest of our vacation to afford it. She showed me their travel spreadsheet. They'd allocated $1,000 for potential medical emergencies, more than they'd budgeted for hotels. The husband said, at home, a specialist visit is $300 minimum, and that's with insurance. Without, $500-600 easily? I asked why they'd travel if medical costs caused such fear. The wife said quietly, because at home, we can't afford to get sick either. At least here, we're seeing the world while we're healthy. I work tourist information in Sydney. An American asked where he could buy insulin. His carry-on had been lost by the airline with his 2-week supply inside. He looked terrified. I directed him to a pharmacy 3 blocks away. He asked if I knew how much it would cost. I didn't, but told him Australian pharmacies are reasonable. He left, came back 30 minutes later, laughing in disbelief. $41. 2 vials. No prescription drama, just showed them my empty vials from the airline photo. Pharmacist called a doctor, got approval, sold me what I needed. He sat down at my desk. At home, those same 2 vials cost me $600 with insurance. Without insurance, over $1,000. Each vial. I was genuinely scared I'd have to fly home early or spend $3,000. He showed me his phone. He'd been researching emergency flights back to America. I thought it would be cheaper to fly 10 hours home than buy insulin here. How was that the calculation I was making? A dentist in Bangkok saw an American with a cracked molar. Tourist had been in pain for 3 days. Finally couldn't take it anymore. I examined him. Tooth needed a crown. I explained the procedure, timeline, cost. He interrupted me. Before you say anything else, I need the total. Everything. I need to know if I'm flying home, I told him. Exam. X-rays. Temporary crown today. Permanent crown in 3 days. All in 22,000 baht. He asked me to repeat it. I did. He pulled out his phone, converted it. About $650. He put his head in his hands. Started laughing. Then crying. Then laughing again. I've needed this crown for 8 months. My dentist at home quoted $3,800. My insurance covers 50% after I meet my deductible, which I haven't. So $2,000 out of pocket, minimum. He looked at me. I came to Thailand for vacation. I'm getting my tooth fixed here, and it's still cheaper than doing it insured at home. He paused. That's insane, right? That I flew 9,000 miles and it's more affordable? I didn't know what to tell him. He got the crown. Worked perfectly. He asked for my card, said he'd be back next year for a cleaning. I'm a nurse in Montreal. Last winter, an American grad student came to our ER at 2 a.m. Intense abdominal pain. We ran tests, appendicitis. Needed immediate surgery? Standard procedure. The student, groggy with pain, kept asking about payment. I don't have Canadian insurance. I have student insurance from America, but I don't know if it covers this. How much is surgery? Our surgeon told him we'd figure out billing later. Right now, we needed to operate. The student tried to refuse. I can't afford this. I'll fly home. I'll wait. With appendicitis, ready to rupture. The surgeon said flatly, "You will die if that appendix bursts mid-flight. We're operating now." He did successful surgery. 3-day recovery? He was terrified the entire time, not of surgery complications, but of the bill. When we finally gave him the invoice, he stared at it for a full minute. Total cost, 4,200 Canadian dollars. About 3,000 USDs, his American student insurance covered 70%. His out-of-pocket, $900. For emergency surgery, 3 nights in hospital. All medications. Follow-up care. He told me, my roommate had appendicitis last year in Boston. With insurance, he paid $8,000 out of pocket. The hospital billed insurance $60,000 total.
Oh.
He looked at his invoice again. I had surgery in a foreign country, and it cost less than a freshman dorm room for a semester. Before he left, he asked me something I'll never forget. Do Canadians know how lucky they are? Does anyone here lie in bed scared to call an ambulance because it might cost $3,000? Do parents here do math about whether their kid's fever is emergency room level expensive? I told him, honestly, no. That's not a calculation we make. He nodded. Americans do that math every single day. We're all just gambling that we stay healthy enough to avoid financial ruin. Healthcare shouldn't be a financial fear. But for millions of Americans, it's a constant calculation, the math of whether they can afford to stay alive. You've already shown you care about understanding the real cost of a system so many accept as normal. Subscribing ensures you get the next breakdown before the next crisis, knowledge delivered on time. Not too late. If you think your country's healthcare system has problems, talk to an American. They'll tell you what actual fear feels like.